Welcome back to Let's Play Cyanide. Let me just do that and wait, no. That's that. Right. How long has it been? I forget. Man, it's weird. There's like an echo to my voice because I don't have my fan on. It's weird. Right, does it say the date? Yeah. 23rd, it's now the 7th. Oh, wait, I've just now noticed that. That annoys me so much anytime I see it. Can't hover it now, I can't hover it like I can do it like this. This annoys me. You're in the UK. Day, month, and then a year after that. But no, it's because it's obviously been translated like to be more like, you know, the American way. So you have to have month first, day second, and it throws me off every damn time because like I'd be like recently, as recent as basically yesterday, because I downloaded it on Monday and it's arrived yesterday. It's recording. It's the I think I already said the 7th of May, so it was a while back since last recorded for this. I got the sequel to Deathmark. It's called NG Spirit Marker. No, Spirit Hunter, I think. Yeah. So I've been playing that. I haven't got too far into it. Once again, was watching Manly Badass Hero play through it, and then like nearly halfway through, it's like, you know what? I'll get the game myself and then, you know, play for it. It's a visual novel, kind of. It definitely feels more visual novel than the first one. It feels like there's less of the kind of adventure gameplay. It's still there, but I wonder if that's why the file size is so small in comparison, because it's like, just takes up 2 gigabytes or so, while Deathmark took up like over 10 gigabytes, which is insane. But anyways, you know, in that, it shows like the date as well, and I think it might also have the American way. It's like, whenever I play a game and it has like, you know, a calendar system, it always throws me off because I don't know what to expect. Is it going to be the UK version of it, where it's like, you know, the day is first rather than the month, or is it going to be the American one? And it just bugs me anytime I see it. I mean, in this case, we can see clearly that's 23rd of April, but that's only because, you know, if it was like 12 or lower for both of the dates, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's annoying. Anyways, I've been dreading this. Recorded for Digimon World Next Order, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it might have been yesterday. And I mentioned in the record session, I was like, oh man, I'll have to record for Sinute next, and I'm like, oh no. I hate Fuminori and his stupid face. There is anger, of course, but something cold and heavy holds my emotions in check. The sense of danger. Also, not a comment on the previous part, because I uploaded that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. No comment on the part before that either, but the part before that, you know, the part with, you know, the nudity that I had to censor. Comment pointing out, well, I did tell you, and I was like, did you? And then I'd like look back through the comments like, yeah, I forgot. On the very first part mentioned, it might be a scene you might have to censor, maybe Steam has edited out. That's obviously not the case, because it was not edited out. The sense of danger. But I'm surprised at how calm I am. Wait, what? Was that Yo? If it's Yo, I thought she was unable to speak. How? How is she able to speak now? Yo looks up at me apprehensively, her head between my thighs. She was standing at me throughout the call. Attended me at me throughout the call. Jesus Christ, the implication. God, kill this character off so much, man, but he's not, is he? It's like I've been thinking of like, you know, you know what? I never really go around to that because how long the recording goes on for, but I I'd like, early on in this, I was like, okay, I was playing, goddamn microphone, I was playing my guitar, and I was like, I was thinking of like the title music a bit, and I was like, could make a song about this, story. But the more the story goes on, the less I feel like, just like, oh, kind of melancholic. I feel like it'd be more like, very heavy sounding because of the craziness of it. Oh yeah, there's also like this nice little kind of melody I came up with for like an intro to a solo, be like, if I were to, expand on a song with that. Anyways, I've been thinking it's like, scratch that idea, Maybe I will write a song that's, not being all like, okay, let's try to make this, all nice and professional. No. Make a song where I just insult Fuminori the entire time. Because he's an asshole. The remaining fragments of her memory seem to have joined together, as she has regained some degree of speech. Upon realizing this last night, I began to teach her language once more. I assume she finds our pet's efforts amusing. Oh, this is not appropriate. A pleasure from her friends to impede my thoughts. Besides, my arousal's already vanished. God damn it. Oh yeah, that's another idea I have. It's like, at the end of all this, if the ending pisses me off like I imagine it probably will, because it's not going to end with Fuminori's head impaled on a stick or something, I'm going to, come up with my own alternate endings for this story. Most of them, if not all of the, well, I don't know. I just I don't know, I'd like an ending in this where Fuminori dies. He's that much of a monster, I hate him that much that he must die. At first I consider making a stop when I gaze upon her puppy dog eyes, however I begin to think differently. As I have a family once again, for the first time I am becoming aware of the responsibility that places on me. There's a weird bloody family, Anne, isn't it? I am now the head of a new Sakasaka household, as well as its only male member. It is my duty to protect, comfort, and ensure the happiness of the women living under my roof. Don't think you're doing that too well with Yo. Never mind, I know that I must show fear or confusion. That would only cause them distress.
続けろよ
This is fact. I trust myself to use eager touch, basking in the pleasure with one part of my mind while contemplating our current predicament with the other. It's clear that I made a grave error when I failed to finish Koji off 2 days ago. Right now I need to set my frustration and anger aside and deal with this problem logically. I don't think logic really is a part of your, existence anymore. You just cast aside logic. I mean, you're in a relationship with a tentacle monster, basically. You know Saya is not what she looks like, and you're still like, I don't care. It's time to leave. I have no way of knowing when Koji escaped from the well, or how much he has learned, or how many people he has had contact with since then. Now that it is impossible to know how far the problem has spread, merely disposing of Koji won't guarantee our safety. When the enemy has poisoned our water supply, you can't take the risk that even one drop might remain. Your only choice is to stop drinking the water.
ねえ、ふみのり、誰と話してたの?
Saya returns from the kitchen where she'd gone in search of a midnight snack. She's munching on her favorite spare ribs. How do you have any ribs left over? I mean, have they not eaten Suzumi's family completely yet? Because I can't get over that, man. This story is just so fucked up. This might be the most messed up story I've ever read. Let's put my guitar down there. Oh, wrong. Purging myself of unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug.
ちょっと厄介なことになりそうだ。工事のやつが生きててさ。
あらま。
By breaking the news suddenly and without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Sire. Said she's merely surprised. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I'm currently being pleasured by you. It would be hard for anyone to get too serious under these circumstances.
なあさや、僕たちこの家を引き払った方がいいかもな。
Oh.
そうか。
How are they gonna... Well, I just wonder what Yo actually looks like now, because she supposedly looks similar to how Sire's true form is. I mean, is she capable of moving around? Because the previous scene that we saw them in kind of seemed like she didn't really... was capable of, you know, much movement. Sire lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully.
まあ、どっちみち鈴見さんの一家が消えたのがバレれば、この近辺も騒がしくなってただろうし、遅かれ早かれ、こういう日は来てたと思うよ。
Sire nods. I can tell that she's reluctant to leave, but at least there's no Sanderson expression. Now, one thing I will give credit, though. Whoever voice acted Fuminori does a fantastic job of making him an unlikable piece of shit that you want to punch him in the face. So he's doing his job very well. Everything will be fine. He has this really, detached, cold delivery. He's just like, doesn't care about anyone but himself and Sire. Everything will be fine. I will protect my life with Sire just as I have up until now. I have that power. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with new confidence.
大丈夫。安心していいよ。
And then the house
じゃあ急いで支度しよう。
just explodes and Fuminori is just like blown to pieces. Happy ending. The only happy ending would be if, Tanbo, shoots his head off with that shotgun of hers. It's like, Saya is just as bad, but I see Saya differently because, she's an Eldritch abomination, basically. So, she doesn't really have, the, human kind of moral compass going on. Whereas Fuminori, he's just cast aside all that, so I see him in a worse light than Saya. Because with Saya, it's just like, well, that's just how she is. She's not human. She just sees, all other life forms, prey. Or, something that she, would take apart to try to understand. You can travel light and take the Suzumi family car. It just so happens she's also a bit sadistic as well. I'd better withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. Also need a weapon, something more reliable than a butcher's knife. Koji will most likely follow. He thinks that Yo can be saved. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. As long as Koji knows our location, we're stuck on the defensive. Even gives me the chance to regain the initiative and deal with him at a place of my choosing. Again, he should have listened to Tanbo. Wait a little while, form a plan, and then when he's least expecting it, then you go in for the attack. And this son of a bitch Fuminori wouldn't know what hit him. Next time we meet, I'll kill him with my own two hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop out of his body. Shiver runs through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust burns like orgasmic fire. Fuminori, you're a real shithead. When Ryoka looks up, the morning sun is already streaming in through the window. Tired from hours of poring over files, she removes her glasses and massages her aching eyes. Dreams are always filled with horror, yet the night she just spent was more nightmarish than them all. It's not over yet. She's only just set foot on the threshold. As expected, the files left by Ogai and Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoka could simply pick up and read. Fortunately, Ogai has been too old-fashioned to put his trust in electronic media. If he'd encrypted his files on a computer, she'd have had to find a hacker to decipher them, and then said hacker would go mad from the revelation. In fact, he had not employed any kind of code in his writing. That would have been too time-consuming by hand. Effort hub. The station he did use was quite simple. Of the files Rocco pulled from his underground lab, the majority turned out to be notes, and these from Ogai's days as a student. Important papers were the diaries and research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles of worthless scrap. It's like it's all in Japanese, obviously, so he'd be like, so, you know, well, it's not driving her into madness, but if it was like, you know, you find, like, something that, like, if you read it, you're good, oh man, from the revelation of it all, it'd be like, looking at it, it's like, I can't even read this shit. Come to think of it, is it even in Japanese? It doesn't actually look like Japanese, to be honest. Well, some of it, yeah, I can recognize it as Ma. Maybe it's this absolutely dreadful handwriting. I mean, bloody hell. Just looks like a bunch of scribbles. First, she was unable to understand the documents that she had found. Each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line was completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the whole. Trick revealed itself, however, while she was sorting the pages that made no sense. She found that each line continued on the same line of a different page. Maybe that's why it looks like nonsense. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day began on the first line, and then continued not with the next line, but with the line on the next page. Similarly, the second day was the second line, the third day was the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling all the lines on one set of pages, Ogai had torn them out and scattered them among his other files. There was no regularity to how the pages were numbered, of course. Unable to locate any sort of key or legend, Ryoko had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Despite knowing that the task would be exhausting, Ryoko set to it valiantly. To separate all the loose leaf sheets from the jumbled files, she began the painstaking process of linking pages together according to the contents of their first line. She found that Ogai dismantled and scattered his diary each time he completed a number of days equal to the lines on one page, and had done the same with his research notes every 30 pages or so. The diary was much easier to restore because the entries varied in length. Letter pages had a large number of blank lines. Page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of the diary, and those with the most blank spaces could be considered closer to the end. Ryuko's perseverance has paid off, for she has already succeeded in restoring several volumes of Ogai's diary. As she reads them, she feels despair draining her spirit as it has so many times before. This cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes with knowing hidden truths. Those who have tasted it once shall be beaten down by it again and again, till the day they die. What the hell is her backstory? Because she knows something more than she's revealed. Because, you know, when she was going through a guy's secret room and she was like, you know, don't look at all these mad, crazy things or you'll go insane. Just like you gotta look through a camera at them, spray paint over them so that they're ineffective or something. She knows her stuff. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have glimpsed even the tiniest fraction of the world's true face, you have no choice but to watch in horror as the veil rolls itself back inch by inch. All that remains is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever-mounting weight. Wait, is this just what's written down? It's like, why is there no voice acting? Succeeded in communicating with the organism. Shows enormous curiosity. Its intelligence is beyond doubt. See research notes for confirmed vocal patterns and body language. It looks like Ogai was the one who originally came across Saya, I'm assuming. His appetite for knowledge is insatiable and its learning speed is off the charts. However, he exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. His ego appears to be quite weak, suggesting a psyche wholly unlike that of a human. The speed of the organism's linguistic development is astounding. When I laughed at its mispronunciations, it immediately picked up the concept of puns. Ever since, it's been employing its entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that will make me laugh. Perhaps, in a few days' time, it will have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. The organism's command of spoken language is not sufficient to facilitate its higher level discourse, but although it has regaled with me with questions all day, it remains unable to answer any of mine. Reply suggests that it gained awareness only after materializing in this universe. It has no knowledge of where it came from. While I am disappointed the fact that it has reached this level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think tells me that there's no end to what I can learn from it. It's like Saya said when Fuminori asked about her origin. She's like a dandelion seed lost in a desert. I'm wondering if maybe Saya's obviously probably extraterrestrial. I wonder if she was like came to Earth on a meteorite and then was just like kind of on her own, left her own devices, and was born and was like, where the fuck am I? Who am I? What am I? And blah blah blah. And it's just like latching on to various knowledge as it, goes about its existence. I don't know. Above, since it is not a naturally occurring organism, but was created by an even more sophisticated sentient life form. This would explain why it has no ego, yet possesses such a hunger for knowledge. Might be some sort of drone that was sent here from another world. Butchered the pronunciation on that then. Well, I've got a dictionary. It's a big ass dictionary, so it might take a little while. That is the word, right? Reconnaissance. Military observation of an area to gain information. Ooh. Well, that's relevant then, isn't it? It's like, I would have just read through that and not even picked up on that. It's like, oh, so it could be like, some alien species sent out, Saya to observe. That's an interesting idea. It's like, learn everything and then consume. Erica smiles humorously for the umpteenth time since she started reading. How wonderful it would be if she could laugh the diary off as the delusions of a madman or the work of a science fiction author. Perhaps one with the last name Lovecraft. Well, I don't know, did Lovecraft ever actually write a story with a theme, of some kind of eldritch abomination coming to Earth? In that kind of way where it's like, okay, scouts, see what they got, learn everything about them, and then we will conquer Earth or some shit. Because I've read some of Lovecraft's work, and I don't recall them ever going in that kind of direction. But I find, with Lovecraft, it's like, oh, Cthulhu this, Cthulhu that. Who gives a shit about Cthulhu? There's got more interesting ones in there. It's like Azathoth, the blind idiot god that's basically dreams up all of the universe. That's quite an interesting and scary concept there. That's proper cosmic horror. Cthulhu, he's just like some giant octopus squid looking monstrosity at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. Who gives a shit about him? Then he got Nyarlathotep, which is definitely an interesting one because it's the only ones of the were they called the Outer Gods or wherever? I don't know. He's the only one that's taken an interest in humanity, which makes him more threatening because he likes to toy with people. Definitely have plenty ideas with that, because you could have him fuck with someone to the point where he drives them completely insane. And then at the end of all that, and nobody will believe you. It's just I thought of an idea of a story like that, and it's just in horror kind of stories, where a character's going completely insane, and then the big reveal is it was all in their head. Have that, except it wasn't all in their head. You had this eldritch abomination from out of God knows where, and just fucking with them the whole time, taunting them and trying to drive them to, end their own lives because this, bastard just likes to fuck with people and drive them to the brink of madness and then death. I feel like that's kind of the F-Tep's kind of deal. He definitely seems like well, can you even call it he or she or anything? It's probably genderless. Neil F-Tep seems like the one that's, likes to drive people insane just for, the hell of it, because it amuses them. Anyways, alas, she knows far too much. And she thinks back to the many horrors that Ogai brought into her life. The words before her take on chilling credibility. I've confirmed that the organism's brain power far surpasses any humans. This morning I taught it about prime numbers. After I explained the Lucas-Lemmer test for hers in primes, it immediately began to list examples that it had calculated in its head. I was only able to confirm by memory up to number 10, M89, but continued to list further examples without any trouble. I left it to its calculations, and when I returned a few hours later, I discovered that it had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Unazine primes, but the last one I remember being was the 39th back in 2001. What year does this take place in anyway? I entered several of the results into my laptop and ran the Lucas-Lemmer test on them. I found that everyone was correct. Same is no doubt true of the rest. After all, the organism has never shown a pathological need for respect that would lead to it to lie about its accomplishments. I see no reason to doubt its veracity. If I could reveal to the world an expedient method for discovering Unazine primes, the prize money would make me a billionaire. Of course, my current research is worth far more than any sum of money. I must keep it a secret. The organism's computation at the speed exceeds that of even the most powerful supercomputers. We only conclude that its cognitive facilities are beyond anything humanity can imagine. And that's one thing I don't quite like about stuff like this. Where you make, the antagonist in this case too overpowered. It's like, oh, look at them, they're basically better than anything we could ever possibly accomplish, and they're, not even in their in their prime age. Saya seems like she was only recently born when Ogai came across her, from the sound of it, and she's already learnt this much. It's like, you goddamn Mary Sue, is that what it's called? It's like, you're good at everything, smart ass piece of shit. The organism's request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite its immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, it now desires to concentrate on sociology and the natural sciences. Perhaps our math problems are simply too elementary for it. It has shown especially keen interest in the means by which organisms reproduce and multiply. It possesses nothing that could be called emotion. I hesitate to use description, but when it learned about DNA, it seemed somehow excited. That's interesting. As it possesses nothing that could be called emotion. We've seen Saya show a variety of emotion. And it makes you wonder, is it all a facade? Because I'm starting to wonder, maybe, if that's the case, and Saya's just using Fuminori, I'm on board with that. If it means Fuminori gets screwed over in the end. It's like, screw you, Fuminori, fuck you. She didn't even love you after all. In fact, the organism itself seemed surprised by its reaction. When asked about the nature of the impulse, the organism decided to label it instinct. If this description is indeed accurate, then this is an extremely significant development. It would mean that there's a deeper level of its psyche than just the knowledge it has acquired since coming to this world. If I can use this discovery to trace its roots, I might be able to learn what it truly is. Notes, candidates for the plane, and the world of the organism's origin are discussed in my writings on the Silver Key, filed separately. I spent a whole day carrying books into its room. Apparently the organism is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise considering its linguistic prowess, but the speed of which it consumes sex is astounding. diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between Ogai and the organism. But she, get it on with Ogai as well. In the back of her mind, Ryoko imagines the old doctor climbing down the well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in that bizarre laboratory. This image is certainly similar to the nightmares that have shattered the silence of many nights with her screams. What follows, however, makes even her worst nightmare pale in comparison. The organism has made a very strange request. It's the first time it has asked for anything other than food and reading materials. The interesting thing about this is Ogai is not really indicated whether... it definitely doesn't sound like it. He's not saying, oh yeah, it looks like, a girl, a human girl. So he's probably seeing Saya in her true form, and he's just like, hey, let's talk. Let's talk about knowledge, shall we? Let's have debates and shit, Want to learn about humanity? I'll tell you all about it. It's just like, you're not at all put off by this eldritch abomination. There's a bit of other than food and reading materials. You can hardly believe it, but he wants to consume the sperm of living creatures. This is separate from his desire for food. Once again, it is describing this impulse as instinctive. He wants to spread this, well, in a way he would, but, in order to spread its seed, it needs, your seeds. Now that it has declared itself a life form that requires the seed of males, it has begun to identify itself as female. After today, I suppose I shall have to start calling the organism a she. Yeah, it definitely appears as the Elvic abomination she actually is then. How has he not gone mad then? Maybe he was always mad. Is the personality that she has begun to exhibit really just an imitation created for her amusement? Since she started to immerse herself in our literature, she has been acting astonishingly human. She identifies herself as female and already possesses an enormous store of cultural knowledge. She's trying to create a human identity for herself based on leaves. I have seen her laugh, grow angry, and today she cried. She's just copying our emotional displays. If not, then she is already. Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I am witnessing something more mysterious than the genesis of life itself. Today is her birthday, although it is a year late, I want to give her a special gift. Saya was the name of my mother's cat in childhood. She was my, should have paused there. In childhood, she was my sole friend and my beloved. I decided long ago that if I ever were blessed with children, I would give this name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary results each day. I have no doubt that she is a kind of artist. What exactly is it that she created in her body from that rat semen I gave her? You gave her rat semen? What the fuck? Give her any semen and that's still what the fuck. At this point, I can only surmise that it is a type of retrovirus, a reverse transcriptase enzyme that creates exactly what she desires. Rats that have been transformed by her art are so very beautiful now. No, they're not. You're just completely insane. The many enzymes created by her body and the various appendages she uses are discussed in detail in my biological observations, filed separately. I will say this. By witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I have gained much confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulate the biology of other organisms. That's what she do. Just like I've been watching, True Facts by Z Frank. A lot is just like, that is how the Saya do. Ryoko looks grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research notes. When she finally managed to separate those papers, she will probably find the many other files mentioned in the diary. Ogai's biological observations, at the very least. She wants to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. Under no circumstances does she want to go into battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees that it's already 7 in the morning. Assuming Tono Koji made no stops, he should be arriving in Tokyo about now. Now that it's too late, she wishes she'd stopped that stubborn fool from leaving, even if she had to shoot him in the leg to do it. Yeah, you really should have stopped him. Because he's kind of ruined any, now Fuminori and Saya are aware that someone's onto them. Koji pulls up 2 blocks away from the Sagasaga house and stares at the silent building. In the bright light of morning, the house seems shrouded in a dark miasma like a black hole worn out of the landscape. Is it just a figment of Koji's imagination? And you know what? That didn't even answer the one question I had throughout that was, so, why did Ogai kill himself? Or did he even kill himself at all? What if it was, staged? What if Saya killed him and then, left the gun there, like, yeah, clear, he shot himself. Or maybe, well, did he have a bullet in his skull? Might have, so maybe, I don't know. It didn't answer that question. Every window is closed, offering no glimpse of the inside. Koji has no way of knowing whether Fuminori is home. A pedestrian walks his dog down the street, glancing back at Koji through the windshield after he passes by. Koji isn't surprised by the attention. He hasn't bathed or changed clothes since spending the night buried in mud, so he must look like a vagrant even inside his car. When he looks into the rearview mirror, he sees the haggard visage of a man with one foot in the grave staring back at him. It's hard to believe that the tired, unshaven face really is. If he stays here for too long, someone might report him to the police. He'd better pull himself together and get moving. Drives slowly up to the front of Fuminori's house, quickly checks to make sure no one is around, and gets out of the car. Anyone who might be in the house probably heard the sound of the engine, but there's no point in worrying about that now. He's not really got the best of plans, has he? Koji walks swiftly through the gate and yard to the front door, puts his hand on the doorknob before going the bell. The time for such pleasantries has passed. The door is unlocked and the knob turns easily in his hand. Puts his ear to the door and listens for any sign of life. He's acting like a thief, he realizes with some shame, but this is the least of his worries now. No sound from within. After checking the street again to make sure no one is looking, he quickly opens the door and disappears inside.